Hello dearies, welcome. Pour yourself a cuppa and get comfortable. I want to chat with you really quick about Imbolc. Hello. This is my very first YouTube video and I'm not quite sure how much of my identity I want out there right now. So I'm gonna call myself LaFay and we're gonna go with that for right now until I figure this whole thing out. Merry meet, I am LaFay and I wanted to share my Imbolc altar with you all today. Today is February 1st, 2019, so today and tomorrow are considered the Imbolc Sabbat, and Imbolc is something that I am just learning to connect with, actually. It was one of those Sabbats for me that I had a very hard time connecting with and understanding. It seems so soon after the hustle and bustle of the winter holidays that I kind of just turned the wheel and kept on trucking and didn't give it much pause. And I thought that was a shame. This year, literally 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had decided and set a goal for myself that I wasn't going to let Imbolc pass me by. It felt really important to me that I take time to figure this one out. And I'm really glad that I did because it makes so much sense now. The time from Yule until now for me has been very looking inward and trying to figure out for myself where I'm going, what I want to do, what's next, what do I want the next year, 5 years to be for myself and for my family. And coming off a year of a lot of change, this felt critical for me. And I've been writing down notes and intentions and goals. And this YouTube channel is one of those. I wanted to share my pagan path on this platform for a few years now. And I kept putting it off and telling myself later, and you can't do it because you're not good enough, you don't have the right equipment, you don't know what you're doing. And I told myself that I wasn't going to let myself have those excuses anymore. I was just going to literally sit down and do it, and it was going to look like crap and be very amateur, and that's fine because I am an amateur. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to figure it out as I go along. So hopefully you'll stick around and with me and take this ride with me, and maybe we'll grow together. It could be really fun. But I digress. Imbolc for me is about new beginnings, putting intentions behind what you want, putting the power behind it, starting at the ground level and working up. And that's really what this year is for me. So that's why when you look at my altar here, you'll see that it's very simple, plain, if you will. A lot of white, and that's for a couple of different reasons. The first one being I live in Metro Detroit, Michigan, and the past 2 days we were sitting at a negative 40-degree Fahrenheit wind chill. Basically, the air was trying to kill us. And right before that, we were hit with our first big snowstorm of the season. There's a good 6 inches, maybe a foot in places of snow. So this is kind of what it looks like out my window, and I thought it was appropriate for this Sabbath. So I already established that I'm new at this, and I'm trying to put this together just so that I've started doing this. And of course the second half of my footage, the audio, is all wrong. So I'm going to do a Passover tour of my altar. You can see it all pretty behind me with the audio from the original footage. So here we go. So with the pieces on my altar, we'll start with my regulars. Back here you'll see I have my oil lamp, and I love my oil lamps. I have a couple. I'm kind of developing an obsession with them. So in my home, we don't have an actual fireplace. So the oil lamp here on my altar kind of represents that home and hearth aspect. That means a lot to me. It also represents fire. So oil lamp is there at the top because it's also very pretty, and when I light it, it lights my entire altar and this whole corner. It's very pretty when it's lit. Below that, I have my star here representing earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. This is the closest that I get to a pentagram, actually. And I'll talk about that in a second. And then also my goddess, which I love my goddess deity. I picked her up a few years ago at my favorite local witchy shop, Mystic Moon LLC. I had been looking for something for years, and when I saw her, I had to snatch her up and take her home with me. She was exactly what I was looking for, so she is always on my altars. And then we also have this lovely piece that my husband carved from our favorite tree at our old house right before we moved. And so it says Blessed Be on the front there, and then there's a triquetra and a spiral that he carved in. Means a lot. And then we have my triquetra right here. For me, the triquetra has always spoke to my soul more than the pentagram, and there's a few reasons for that. 3 has always been a number that's really registered with me. Even right in my life, it is my husband, myself, and my son. So we're 3, the past, the present, the future. That's something that I'm always considering. The maiden, the mother, the crone. Everything in my life seems to happen in 3s. Like, I think this might be the 3rd time I'm recording this video because things keep going wrong. So 3rd time's a charm is kind of my motto. So 3 points on the triquetra. I love my triquetra. Those things will always be represented on my altars. And then for this Sabbath Imbolc specifically, I am using this beautiful goddess chalice, which you probably can't see because of glare, but it's empty aside from this piece of parchment. And for me, this is representing the empty yet quickening womb of the goddess. The parchment to represent planting intentions, writing down goals, changes, things you want to see, planting seeds, kind of, is what that is representing here on the altar. And then, of course, lots of candles, the strengthening of the sun, especially here, cloud cover has seemed to have abated. Thank you, goddess, for the past few days, and we're getting lots of sunshine, so lots of candles to really encourage the warmth coming back and celebrating that. And then I have a couple of ritual candles as well. White, again, for purity, new beginnings, and then purple to signify progress and ambition. So, oh, and then this, I can't forget this. This is a lovely chalice that was my grandmother's goblet thing. It's crystal, it's beautiful. And in it, I don't know if you can tell, I actually have some melted snow. So it's bringing a water element to the altar, but I think it's very fitting because it's bringing a bit of the current earth into my home in a vessel that means a lot. There's an ancestral element to it, and what, you know, the snow is going to melt to water the earth so that everything underneath will grow again. So I felt that that needed to be here on the altar. And then finally, I have this lovely Oak King representation, and this is the pair to my Holly King. And I had the Holly King for a few years, and finally just this year got my Oak King. So from Yule until Litha, the Oak King's going to hang out around my altar, and then from Litha until Yule, the Holly King will be represented. And it took years and years, but I finally have a solid God representation on my altar, and it feels so lovely. I think that's everything. It's everything going on with my altar and what Imbolc means to me. And it's the end of my first YouTube video. Please give this a like if you made it this far. And if you would consider subscribing, it would mean so much to me. I have a lot to share. I have been walking a pagan path for close to 20 years. I'm no means an expert, but I have a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts, and a lot of experiences that I would love to share. And I want to make this a thing. I want to use this platform as a way to connect with others in the pagan community. So please consider subscribing, give this a like. Thank you for hanging out and having a cuppa with me, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Blessed be, and I'll See you later.